This is the Cape Coast Castle in Ghana, West Africa, where enslaved Africans were shipped to the Caribbean, to North America, and other places in the world. From this castle, on the average, 10,000 enslaved Africans were shipped year by year. Altogether, about 60 million Africans were enslaved. Whoever went through this door had no chance of coming back. That is why this door got the name, the door of no return.
To break down pressure, rule equality, yeah. Wipe away transgression. Set the captives free.
He used to love singing. I used to teach some little jingles, and he used to love them. And the chief one that he used to love was, I had a little donkey that's brave. I feed him in a barn every day. And when he hears me whistle, he knows I have a thistle. He rather eats a thistle than hay. Hee-haw, 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 hee-haw. That is all my donkey can say. And then you would see him, keeping time, and you could see that he was enjoying it.
How did it all start? Had music always been a part of your life from when you were a little boy?
Yeah, growing up in a musical family, grandfather, mother, uncle, sister, pitney, everything.
What part of Jamaica?
St. Anne's,
Yeah?
That's in the country. A little place up in the hills, Well, you see, Bob Marley and my cousin, We all born in our grandparents' house, which is a house on top of the hill there. We farm potato, cocoa, banana. You have to be really active on them things there. And so you reach 5 o'clock, you have to get up, catch the donkey, come milk the cow and them things.
Bob liked to ride the donkey and, go to the field and with his grandfather and things like that, because he's a country boy,
9 Mile was a place that there wasn't a lot of civilized activity. Electricity was not available in those areas, so you see a lot of peony wallies, those little fireflies, and that's the only light at night other than the moon and the stars, So as a youth coming out of Kingston that was accustomed to jukebox and sound system, it was really something to get accustomed to.
And do you remember when you first met Robert?
Yes. First time I saw him, I saw this little youth cutting up this big chunk of wood and putting it on his head bit by bit and taking it away and say, that's, and then he was the only little, red picnic in the place because everybody else was black people.
Who was Bob's dad?
Well, my grandfather says a man from England, a white man. He used to work with the government, like the forest. So him is a man who used to control the forest area around it.
He like when you call him captain. Yes, but his name is Novel. I met him right there in 9 Mile. And then as a white man in the district, you know, always ride his horse and things like that. He and my father becomes good friends. Then at that time, he see this little girl, and I guess he liked her, and we finally get together, and that's how it happened.
How old was your sister when she met the captain?
She was, 16? Captain was about in his 60s.
So he was an old man?
Yes.
My name is Peter Marley, and Bob Marley is my second cousin.
What did you know about Bob Marley's father?
He rode a horse most of the time. He was in the British Army. I think he was stationed somewhere in India in World War II when he got shell shot. I understand he drank and that he lived a, what should I say, a full life.
My great-grandmother, them call her Yaya. She lived for 135 years of age. She grew up with. She said when she see Bob used to come over the yard, she used to call Bob the German boy.
Did he get teased for being mixed?
Yeah, worse than teased. Teased is not the word, you call it rejected. He did everything that his bigger uncles should be doing because it was their duty to move horses and to make sure that the pigs were fed, and they left all of that work for Robert. He had to earn his every meal.
My father's a white and my mother black. No, them call me half caste or whatever. Well, me don't depend on no body side. Me don't depend on the black man's side nor the white man's side. Me depend on God's side. The man who created me, who caused me to come from black and white.
We went to the same school, and he had me teaching me the stuff of what takes place in the country, how to ride the donkey, how to ride the horse, how to do all of these kind of stuff. And I taught him about music, because that was what I was exposed to prior coming to St. Anne.
When Saturday come is Birky Street, if she cannot buy her meat, when I want her...
I was accustomed to building bamboo guitars and sardine tin guitars, cutting the wire, the electric wire, opening it up, taking out those little fine wires, and making our strings. We used to play mento.
Them build a box and them put 3 pieces of metal in it. What them call it? Rumba box. Them call that the rumba box. But then you see through the metal them, you have different size, so you get different kind of echo from it. But then them used to have a thing where them call them banjo. Them used to have that whole heap in the hills, yeah. And for the drum, the man make drum out because through them used to have cow skin and them thing there. The man make them own drum. So drum, rumba box, and the same banjo, and the shake. Yeah.
In a little district on a little island, women and pretty gal run wild. But there's one who praises went much wider, so they call her rider, rough rider.
Out of that, Robert Marley saw a way out. His guitar.
In high seas or in low seas, I'm gonna be your friend. I'm gonna be your friend.
When you grow up in Trenchtown, you're exposed to everything. Because you have the bad guys there who eventually turn out to be the gunmen. You have the musicians, and you have the sportsmen. Everybody live just like a block away from each other. It's like a melting pot.
While living in Trenchtown, you know, as a young man, surviving was easy. The only thing you'd have to really look out for was the police, you know. Because the police could have just get you, frame you, you go to prison, and because you come from Trenchtown, you know, Trenchtown's from them say, where you from? You say, Trenchtown, you're gone. You know what I mean?
No, it was tough. All of Kingston is like that, you know. Everybody, a lot of people don't know, but Bob, me, all we went to bed hungry a lot. I mean, real hungry. I don't mean like, oh, you had a little piece of this. Nothing. One of the famous lines was, you know, drink some water and go to bed, you know. And those days you never have. You might have one pair of shoes, one suit of clothes. So you walk bare feet all the time. Bob, too, you know. A lot of people don't know that. That kind of sufferation and struggle can make you either go bad or good. And I guess that's what he did, you know. He figured the music would get him out, so he stuck to it and focused, you know.
You now, as an individual there, forced to be creative. Because that's where reggae music born, Trenchtown. In Trenchtown, you have 1st Street all the way up to 13th Street. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and so on and so forth. You hear him sing about it in the Natty Dread.
Then I walk up the 1st Street. And then I walk up the 2nd Street to see.
Well, in Trenchtown now, you find all the talent in Jamaica come from Trenchtown. And it's a place where the music take the slaves then, you know. So it carry a heavy vibration.
He was different, man. He was different. He just loved music. Music and cricket and football.
One day he just come home and give me the books and tell me saying I'm going back to school. And him say I have a friend that he can give these books to. And he did that, and then he turned to his music.
I'm a captain, that's right. Soul adventure. I'm a river, I can't read.
Robert, keep pounding, telling me that this is what it should be. And I'm saying, no, I'm getting ready to go to college. I can't be no music. He say, no, it's music.
When did you begin to get involved in music?
Well, I was interested in music, but that time I was learning trade, you know, and meet up some guys who can sing. One named Desmond Decker.
Desmond Decker and Bob used to work as welders at the same place. Desmond Decker came down and I auditioned him and we recorded his song.
And after he did that song, Robert wanted now to record. So Desmond took him to Beverly's. And he went away and recorded a song to prove to me that if he could record a song, I could.
Don't you look at me so smug and say I'm going bad. Who are you to judge me and the life that I live?
I noticed his use of words in the songs. Judge Not, which was a revolutionary song defending his rights as an individual. It occurred to me, wow, this guy is really a good poet.
Judge not before you judge yourself.
After the recording, Leslie Khan wanted to change Bob's name because Robert Marley didn't sound so catchy and easy. So he wanted to call Bob Adam. Adam Marley. Bob wouldn't have it.
He realizes that a group would be maybe the appropriate thing other than being individual solo artists. We used to listen to groups like Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers, the Drifters, the Platters. So there was a recruitment process taking place. Myself and Robert started to put the group together. And then here comes this tall, dark, as they would say, handsome dude named Peter, and he has this guitar knowledge. And from Robbie here, that Robbie said, play guitar? You serious? So he just give him the guitar right away. So it's 4-string still, but Peter tuned the 4-string, and it's just like that.
On First Street is a music street. We had 3 or 4 places on First Street that rehearsed. And they were rehearsing like every day. Cause them time it was Bob, Peter, Bonnie.
We used to call ourselves juveniles. Brothers in the ghetto, where we used to go to rehearse, say, you come from a whaling environment where people always bawling and beg, you should be named the Whalers.
This train, it is bound to glory. This train is bound to glory. This train is bound to glory. This train don't carry.
As far as the Whalers, harmony and the building of the Whalers, musically, Joe Higgs is the responsible person. Having his own career, he decided to take the group up as a project. As the group improved, people say, yeah man, I'm ready, and Joe said, no, them don't ready. Don't wanna come swell them head about no ready. They are just getting ready. And we rehearsed for about 2 years. We go sing a park downtown for the people. We go sing down a back wall for the Rasta man them. We even go sing at the Maypen Cemetery for the Duppy them. His policy was that great stars sometimes get messed up when they get afraid, when they get nervous on stage. So he said that if we went to the cemetery at, say, 2 o'clock in the morning and sang for those people, then we can't be afraid when we hit the stage. And we went with Joe, sat on the graves, played. Several times we do it until he thought we were brave enough now.
Gather together, be brothers and sisters, we're independent.
Just about the time of the independence, the Jamaican musicians wanted to have a music that they can call Jamaican music.
Well, Jamaica came up with a unique rhythm. I didn't think it was deliberately done. I think it was an attempt to play something, and it came out that way. It became known as reggae, but it started off as ska, which was putting all the accent on a different beat than what is normally where the accent is. It would be on the off beat instead of the on beat.
Ska developed out of American music that we were exposed to, on top of our Jamaican indigenous music such as mento, calypso, kumina.
We were at a bar one evening, and one of the guys said to us, listen to this group. And they punched the jukebox. And the song was called Simmer Down. And no more other tune playing that box the whole time we were there. But simmer down, I tell you.
Simmer Down went straight into the #1 position, and the Whalers were launched.
What was it like working at Studio One, where you started in in those days?
Yeah, it was good, you know, because, you know, first experience within music, working with some good musician and trying to get the harmonies and everything. It was great.
I heard you personally lived in the studio.
Sometimes.
You had Coxon made you a room out the back.
Yes.
Well, Coxon was a smart guy in that he has a ear for music, good music.
He might not be an instrument player. He might not even know if the guitar is tuned. But he knows when the sound is right.
He has his own program on the radio. He has his own record shop. He has his own sound system. He has his own studio. So he's obviously a leader.
Coxon was like a father to us, you know. Be honest with you. Coxon was like a father to us. He cared for us. Coxon gave Robbie a little room around the back of the premises. I didn't have anywhere to live neither. So Robbie and me lived there. Both of us lived there. So we became intimate, good friends. He gave Robbie a record player and a lot of foreign records. Robbie was a fanatic in listening to these people because he was a serious focus man, even as a youth.
Jamaican music developed from calling what we call do-overs, version of somebody's song in America.
Each night I ask for stars above. Why must I be a teenager in love? Put me in your milling machine. I never thought you could answer me. Now I'm wondering what to do to see if you could love me too.
Bob always have a good sound because he singing the lead and the harmony was tight.
The harmony Bonnie carried and Peter was fantastic.
Why must I be a teenager in love?
Peter and Bonnie was the most vocal one to say hi, but Bob was very reserved and just look. As we would say, just catch and look.
Well, as much as there was this obvious love and admiration for each other and of each other, there was always a deep underlying tension that none would be a yes man to the other. I think the music was the glue that held them together.
Feel that spirit. Feel that spirit. Lord, I thank you. Lord, I thank you. I'm gonna put it on. I'm gonna put
We always walk around the back of the studio and we go down Greenwich Park Road. So Rita was living on Greenwich Park Road.
By then, he was admiring me.
Him just saying like that little thing, yeah.
I got a letter from Bonnie, bringing a letter. He was even sending his letter to his friend, not by himself, and to say, yes, he likes me and want to talk to me. They come over and talk. And he would stay on the other side of the road. He was very shy. He was very shy. He was a shy guy.
I'll play your favorite song, darling.
He had a seriousness, and he was one that you could see was reaching out for love.
I know he loved Rita because I was close to them. We used to call her Ritz. She was like my little brethren too.
I didn't think I liked brown-skinned men. I always dream of a guy tall, black, handsome. Every young girl's dream in Jamaica is to have a tall black boyfriend. They would call Baba outcast because you really don't belong to no. You're in between. You're black and white, so then you're not even black.
I think he always felt like an outsider because he was a half-breed. And when Monomo Plano took him in, well, that automatically gave him acceptance.
Marty Plana was a Rasta spiritual leader who taught Bob.
He was like a preacher. He preached Rastafarianism, and he had a following. He hooked up with Bob as a young boy. I think that they gelled together.
Bob looked up to him.
Oh, yes.
to all the suffering going on in Jamaica, it turns you into a militant person. Because you always have to try to find a way out of this system. And we see Rastafari as a liberationist religion.
It is prophesied that oppression make the wise man mad. And who is madder than my servant? Said the Lord, our God, Rastafari.
The Rastafarian were the only true Afrocentric black people who preach self-reliance, who preach self-confidence.
But we interpret the Bible a different way. Most of these places that they're telling you about in the Bible is in Africa. The Garden of Eden is in Africa. The teaching that we get from the elders then is that we always have to look for a black man as God, for we. Somebody that we can identify with.
Christ promised to mankind that he will return within 2,000 years. And then when he returns, he will be the King of Kings through the lineage of King Solomon and King David. Now we look out there to see who is this. One man, Haile Selassie I the First.
Emperor Haile Selassie is the reincarnation of Jesus Christ. He's our God, Rasta God. Rasta said, the purpose of life is to be happy. Everybody's supposed to be happy and live in peace, love, and unity. Yeah, man. I think when him start take it serious now as a Rasta man was when him start growing dreadlocks.
Locks meant that you were a Rastafarian and you've taken a vow, Nazarite vow, not to cut or comb your hair for a certain length of time, and it has a significance and it's not to be taken lightly.
How important are the dreadlocks?
This?
Is that
This
part
is my
of being a
identity,
Rasta?
man. Yeah, this is my identity.
Then you go through all the various rules for living as set out by the Bible, how you eat, how you live, how you treat other people. And he believed that if you practice these things, well, life will be better, not only for you, but for everyone else.
Got to have Kaya now. Got to have Kaya now. Got to have Kaya now. For the rain is falling.
Marijuana is illegal in Jamaica, but the Rastas say they smoke it because the Bible tells them to. The book of Revelation says to partake of the herb.
Herb was like a sacramental food to us. We take it for reasons, not just to get high. It put us in a holy, peaceful, happy, inspirational mood.
Were you born as a Rasta?
I was born, and growing. There was a certain amount of consciousness in myself that, it was always a lonely world, not finding people who might think like me, So after going on and come to Kingston, meet some more people, them people is Rasta. You talk to them and find out it's the same thing I have inside. It's the same thing.
How old were you when this started to happen?
This is about 17, 18,
I think in the belief or knowledge of Haile Selassie, Bob found his real father, which he never really knew.
I think he saw himself now. This is where he found himself, yes. No more about being half white or half black. It's just one love.
One love, one heart. Let's join together and I'll feel alright. One love, full of mercy. One heart. I tell you, help and stop suffering and I will feel alright.
Undaunted by the driving rain, a sea of faces awaited at the Palisados Airport the arrival of a living legend. To some, he was the King of Kings, the Lion of Judah, even a god. Members of a local cult, the Rastafarians, who worship this figure as a deity, were present in full force. His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I, Emperor of Ethiopia, arrived.
When the plane landed, thousands ran out to surrounded the plane. Some of them smoking. Police were powerless.
And Selassie came to the door of the plane, I remember, and after about 20 minutes, and he just looked and he went back in. Took a long time to get him off the plane.
So he came off the plane and he breathed. And I said, wait, but this is a little man. That is this little man that says God. I'm crazy.
I sit there on my bicycle, waiting on him. And when him come up, he look right in my face. It's like him looking to everybody's face. But he look on everyone. I remember I see that.
And he just turned his head around and he was looking straight at me and he did like this. Then I look and I saw his hand and I saw a mark in his hand. And believe you, my brother, when I saw that, I went crazy. I run all the way back to Trenchtown.
Take your troubles to Selassie. Is the only King of Kings. King of Kings. King of Kings is
The deeper Bob got into the faith, the Rastafarian faith, the more his music became entwined.
He was very into the social commentary side of the music. Mr. Dodd didn't like that because it wasn't commercial enough. So he was a little frustrated because he couldn't do the music the way he really wanted it to be done.
And also, at that time, money was the problem. Coxsone wasn't the kind of person at the time to argue money with, unless you were ready to go to war.
When you go and ask him for your money, he usually like to bring off some bad boy style. Because he has his thugs around him, you know what I mean, enforcer type of guys.
It was traditional in those days that artists who recorded never made money because the record company who collected the money never gave the artists any money.
We get paid like minimum wage. £3 a week, that's it, each.
You could live off it.
Could Bob live off it?
Nah, man, that's why Bob had to leave and start doing his own thing.
So Robert left the group to go to Delaware, to the United States, to migrate.
Robbie made a decision to leave for his mother in America. But before that, Mr. Dad encouraged him and Rita to get married.
Hold on to this feeling we got. We gonna blow, blow, blow. 'Cause we love, love, love you now.
Yeah, well, that was a marriage that I wasn't invited to, nor Peter. But because he's our brother, we lived with it.
We got married like on the 11th and he left on the 12th of February.
Run for cover, run for cover. Rain is taking over, taking over.
He came here, his mother wants him here. Bob loved his mother.
He got a job at the DuPont Hotel, vacuuming the floor. Then he got a job at Chrysler.
When he was working there, I think he used to drive one of the forklifts. Have he ever sang out of that, driving the forklift all night?
I'm working all right, got to be all right. See, I work for my pay, all right, night and day, all right. Work for my pay, all right, night and day.
Well, he was just very humble, very loving, and he was very quiet, really.
Was he smoking a lot of ganja then?
Yeah, he was growing it too, man, in his backyard. And he had a row of herb plants. I mean, towering in the air, and I couldn't believe it. Because at that time in Wilmington, Delaware, man, they were kicking people's doors in for a little joint. I used to go up to his house and we'd go in the basement. He'd play his guitar and I would play my congas. I played congas. And we would just jam, and I didn't really realize he was such a great musician.
Well, he never gave up music, because his mommy, she would write me to say, all Nestor does is stay in the basement and play his guitar.
Well, I couldn't stand it, you know, because I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. So I went back to Jamaica, where I could have much get more freedom.
Bend down low. Let me tell you what I know, yeah. Bend down low.
When Robbie came back from the US, we decided to start our own independent label, Wailing Soul. So we went in and did Bend Down Low. Bend Down Low was a #1. We started to build our own economy. We used to ride with our bicycles and distribute the record jukeboxes, sound systems, record stores with our bicycle.
The Wailers' music dominated the dance halls, but it was hardly played on our Jamaican radio stations.
In the music business, there were just prejudice. The first problem is being a Rasta, and the next problem is that you're not with the big companies. So that's a heavy load to carry. These disc jockeys, when they went on air, they had their own programs sometimes. They had their own sets of records from these different companies that they would have to play. Sometimes we were not included. So to be included in that, we had to get real tough sometimes.
I used to drive Bob with Skill Call.
Yeah.
And Browser and Take Life. Do you remember them? These two little gangsters.
Right. Yeah.
Used to drive to the radio station, right?
Right.
And they'd leave me in the car, right? And they'd go in. Skill Call had a baseball bat. You know, they don't play baseball in Jamaica. I don't know where he got a baseball bat. And Skill Call was big, a big guy.
Yeah.
Right? They'd go in the radio station. They have me listen to the radio to make sure that they were really playing the record.
Right. And then Coxsone, Studio One, Duke Reed, Trojan, and Prince Buster decided to form an organization called the Big Tree. Then the Wailers pulled the axe. If you are a big tree, we are the small axe, sharpened to cut you down, well sharp to cut you down.
Here come Lee Scott for live and direct on a Bob Marley documentary film. Hail him Emperor Selassie. Lightning and thunder, hailstone, brimstone and fire. As is fire, this is water. And that is Africa and the wire.
Lee Perry used to work with Coxsone. So when he started doing his independent business, we admired him because he followed our footsteps out of Coxsone.
My experience with Scratch is that, #1, he's a very innovative producer, very creative. I mean, to the point that it became an excitement to see him come into the studio with a half glass of white rum and sprinkle 4 corners of the studio with it, flash. And then he would go into his little, he would like dance. He didn't write music scores. He would say, Snap in, I want you to play this, And he would just hop through the music, and they would follow him. I would believe that his early recordings with the Wailers were the best, to my knowledge. Perry had a lot of influence on Bob's career.
These are the words of my master.
I love Bob so much it's a shame. Him is a part of me, and so him coming to like me, and me is a part of him.
Why do people like his music so much, though?
Because of the story him tell, and how him tell it pitifully.
tell it that you have to believe it. He was a very blessed soul and a very blessed spirit, but was out of control, don't know what side to go on, what to do, and was looking for somebody to guide him. He said, want to work with me. I say, you sure? Him say, yes. Well, if you want to work with me, you have to do what he said. The vision I have is Jah Rastafari. See, our music was to dance, drink beer and dance. It wasn't spiritual music.
It is mentioned of in the Bible that there shall be a music that all people of all global concerns shall play and dance and sing this music. It's in the Revelation. What other music could that be? Reggae.
What really changed it to reggae was the riff, actually with the guitar. It's just basically a rhythm change in terms of what the guitar used to play like chak, 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 and then it started playing check-it, 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 check-it.
Yes, my friend, we're in the streets again.
Sometimes some of these things happen out of just maybe an accident. Somebody was doing something and the producer might, hey, yeah, I like that.
Coxsone had bought a piece of equipment from the United States, and it was in the studio for a long time and no one knew what to do with it. They decided to hook it up, and when it was hooked up, they realized it was a tape delay. So when you make one strum, it comes back at you at the same time. And the other studios hear chick, chick, and thought it was the guitar making both sounds. So reggae, to my mind, actually developed out of an illusion.
If you are bullbucker, let me tell you this. I'm a dopey conqueror.
The beats are bam, 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 bam. With reggae, you got 3 beats out of 4 beats, and you imagine the next beat. Feel the next beat. That's reggae. Feel. Heartbeat, feel. Oof, 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 oof. Chick, 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 chick. Yeah. Heartbeat. Real deal.
The basic part of the music were the drum and the bass. Because, drums are the first instruments in music. So the drum is the heartbeat, and the bass, it is the backbone.
Well, I think the drum and bass play a very important part in Bob's music. It was, family man Carlton, 2 brothers. They have their own style.
Steer it up, little darling, steer it up. Come on, baby.
Reggae is the concept of all different type of music. Got funk, got rhythm and blues, got soul, and it's very jazzy when it's ready.
It's been a long steer it together since I've got you on my mind. Ooh, yeah. And now you are here. I said it's so clear to see what we could do, baby. Just me and you. Come on and steer it up. Little darling, steer it up. Come on, baby. Come on and steer it up. Little darling, steer it up.
I was working with a company called National Dry Cleaners, and I was in charge of a branch. And Rita came in one day with some clothes to be dry cleaned. She gave out the clothes and she said, Rita Marley. So I was quite surprised because, I mean, the only Marley I know was the White Marleys. I call them the White Marleys. And so I said, who's Marley? She said, well, that's my husband. And I said, who's his father? She said, okay, she don't know much about him, but you know they call him Captain Marley. And then I said, that's my father. My mother used to work in a boarding house, and my dad would stay there when he comes from sea or wherever he goes, and that's how she met him.
And did they have a long relationship, or was it very brief?
I think it was very brief. My mother didn't really know what happened to him.
In Jamaica, used to have a big company, established company named Marley and Plant. They did construction, Marley and Plant. Most of the construction jobs in and around the country, that was the company who did it. And he always said those were his family.
I remember one time, I think, him go to them to try borrow some money to buy a car, you know, so they can deliver their records. And the story goes, when he walked in the office, like the whole staff turned around because he looked so much like them.
They told us to go away. They know nothing about Novel having a baby.
Knowing my father as I do, I don't know how strong the word rejected is, but he might have been rejected, for sure, because a different hero. My father was a disciplinarian and he was quite a stern man in his own way. In those days, Rastafarians weren't as socially accepted as they are now.
He said to me, when all this happened, it gave me more strength because I went to write a song. You know, I write a song. I said, what is the song? He said, try to pick it up. I said, stone on the bill refuse. I'm the stone. I'm the one.
I just wanted to play you a song, which we were told Bob, after he went to see your father and he felt rejected, he wrote this song about that experience. I'm just very curious to know what you think
really?
of it.
I'd be interested to hear it.
The stone that the builder refused will always be the head cornerstone. Sing it, brother. The stone that the builder refused will always be the head cornerstone.
Nice song.
You're a builder, baby. Here I am, a stone. Don't you think and refuse? Cause the things people refuse are the things they should use. Do you hear me? Hear what I say?
I've heard the song before, but I never placed any significance on it. But I can see where what you're saying could be so.
Am I allowed to talk? Yeah. How true that is. Because Bob put the Marley name in the world, you know. He filled the world with the Marleys by all his music and his children's. And he now becomes the Marley. You know what I mean? He now becomes the Marley, and nobody knows what happened to the rest that used to be so adored and wonderful. They're in the background now, and he's in the forefront. Isn't that amazing? Yes. Yes. Truly.
Stone that the builder refused will always be the head cornerstone.
I think what happened to him, that rejection, that is why he was able to reach the world. And I think there are so many people out there that are hurting, so many people out there that have felt what I have been through, and I have a message that can bring change and transformation.
somebody rang me and said, oh, by the way, Bob Marley and the Wailers are in London. Would you like to meet them? I was intrigued to meet them because, you know, you'd heard a lot about them by now. When they came in the office, they were just really impressive, very charismatic. I just said to go make an album and asked them how much they thought. They told me and I gave them the money to do that.
We took £4,000 and did the Catch a Fire album.
I was trying to get across that this is a black rock act. That's how I wanted it to be perceived.
Get up, stand up for your right. Get up, stand up for your right. Get up, stand up, and don't give up the fight.
My sense is that Bob was ready to give it a try and that the others weren't that keen.
The frame of mind that Bob was in, he didn't mind it. He said, I had to start somewhere. He always said, if you don't start somewhere, you're not going to get nowhere.
Get up, stand up for your right. Get up, stand up.
Bob wanted to reach not just the Jamaicans. Bob wanted to reach the American market. He wanted to reach the European market. And in order to do that, you had to flavor it that way.
Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up, and don't give up the fight. I feel irate.
The first record is easily the most, for want of a better word, pasteurized. I add sort of different things into it.
All those guitars and the keyboards are all overdubs.
No sun will shine in my day-to-day. No sun will shine. The high yellow moon won't come out to play. Won't come out to play. I said darkness has covered my light and has changed my day to night. Yeah. Where is the love to be found? Oh, someone tell me, 'cause
I had no doubt that it would succeed. I had no doubt. The only thing that could stop it succeeding is if I couldn't get them to tour. That was my only fear.
They went on this famous tour, and things went wrong. Things went sour.
We did a tour of England of the Catch a Fire album, but no one told us that it was a promotional tour, so we wouldn't be getting any money.
You're a top group in Jamaica now. And you probably think that going to England is going to be the same. Bob was more real, because he said to me, hey, nobody know the Wailers.
I think Bob recognized you needed to get out there and do it, and I think the others were not sure. It's like grassroots, you know. You're on a bus all night, schlepping up and down the motorway, eating terrible food. You know, it's rough. In the case of Bunny, I think it just didn't want to be in the cold and the snow and everything. It just wasn't worth it to him.
Bob wanted success. Bunny and Peter were more militant. People wanted to separate them because they didn't want to deal with Bunny and Peter.
When you say people, do you mean Island Records?
Of course.
The American leg was next. So I said, are we going to get some money out of this leg? Chris Blackwell said, no, because you're going to be doing freak clubs. You know, a place where all kinds of immoral mix-up things. So I said, Chris, you know that we are Rastas. Why are you exposing us to them kind of situations there? Well, if the Wailers don't do those clubs, they're nobody. So I said, yeah. So I'm not going on this tour. This leg, I'm coming off. And my brothers, I thought, would have done the same as the conversation affected them both. But I was left to look as if I was the only cold front. So I hold my position anyway, and still hold my position. Well, they went on a tour with Joe Higgs, our tutor, in my place.
Stop that train, I'm leaving. Stop that train, I'm leaving.
Peter was a militant type of guy, and I think he didn't like Chris Blackwell too much. He figured Chris Blackwell was ripping them off.
Well, the time came about 74 when we did 2 LPs with Chris Whitewell, and the way he intended to handle us is like we were unprofessional or we were just beginners, which I did not appreciate. See? But after 12 years being a background vocalist with the Wailers, I didn't get much access of saying or materializing what was in me, and that was totally depreciating my ability. So I left because I need recognition and respect.
For us as his children, it wasn't like a lovey-dovey daddy. Or, you know, a daddy who would, you know, oh, be careful, son. He was a rough man. He was rough, you know, rough.
You see, I personally know my heart can be hard as a stone and yet soft as water.
We were always like active, you know, like we're on the beach, we're running, we're racing each other. It was always about racing to see who could beat him.
I mean, there was no let up in him. There was no like, it's children. Let me run slow. The fastest he could run against us him.
And then he would find it hilarious, and we didn't find it so funny. Yeah, nobody wanted their children around us. Nasty, drug heads. All your parents do is smoke weed and play music, and therefore my kid cannot play with you. So it wasn't a positive thing. I would have friends who, like, basically if they want to sleep over, they would have to tell their parents they're sleeping somewhere else. He said, you don't need friends. You have your brothers and your sisters, and that's all you need. Don't ever think you need friends.
I feel Bob got through so many different experiences in life that I don't think him trusts people so easy. So it's like, who really loved me?
Play some music, reggae music. Play some music, reggae music. Root rock reggae, just a reggae music. Root rock reggae, just a reggae music.
Well, the harmony didn't change because then Bob took hold of the I-trees because he still wanted to maintain that sound.
I can't refuse it.
And Bob invited us to do the Natty Dread tour.
Feel like dancing.
From the very first show, it was just dynamite. We sold out everything. We're just doing clubs. But like the Pause Mall in Boston, we did like something like 6 nights straight. It's that experience, you know, 400-seater, 500-seater at the Roxy, the Quiet Night in Chicago, another 500. That was the time to see Bob Marley, because you were as close to him as I am to you now.
All the way from Trenchtown, Jamaica,
Bob Marley, the Wailers, come on!
This concert they did in London in 1975, the Lyceum, that was the tipping point. After that, everybody knew his name. There was that sense that he's about to be massive. Firstly, it was packed, overpacked. When you're at a concert and you've managed to get in and there are X hundred people outside who can't get in, you already feel great. And that energy you have spreads to the band when they come on stage, and so they feel something. And it was one of those things. It was just explosive.
When he walked on stage and he felt the crowd moving the theater, it was like, yes, you know, finally.
No woman, no cry. No woman, no cry. No woman, no cry. No woman, no cry. Said I remember when we used to sit in the government yard in Trenchtown. Over serving the hypocrites.
This was owned by Chris Blackwell. It was called Island House, and he had several of his friends and associates who really lived there. Not like an apartment building, but people who knew each other and, you know, they're occupied downstairs and upstairs. Chris made this available for Bob to rehearse. And eventually, over time, Bob bought it from Chris.
Well, Rastas weren't allowed uptown. And until Bob moved in, there were no dreadlocks there.
A woman said to Bob, "How come you live at 56 Hope Road, which is 2 doors up from King's House, where the governor lives, and 3 doors up from Jamaica House, where the Prime Minister lives?" And Bob just said, "Sister, I bring the ghetto uptown." One of the people who lived here prior to Bob was Cindy Breakspear, and she lived there with her brother Reds.
I loved the accommodation because I loved the old house with the wooden floors, and you know, it was just lovely, cool and breezy, and it was great.
Chase those crazy ballers out of a town.
There's always a stream of people up and down and shouting and laughter and just general carrying on. You were right in the mix. The most important thing culturally that was happening in Jamaica at that time was happening right there.
That was the headquarters. That was the center of it all. Bob never left 56 Hope Road. People come from all over the world to see him.
Did you live at Hope Road with your dad?
No, we lived probably a couple of miles from Hope Road.
Right.
Because Hope Road was really, I don't know, it was a spot.
Rasta is an open door thing. Nobody not checking your credentials. So all kind of people come into Hope Road. Good, bad, and the different.
Every time you go to 56 Hope Road, you would see a lot of people gather with Bob, reasoning, talking about politics, talking about God, talking about history, you know, talking about everything.
Bob was very strict. He run this thing like an army. We call him Skipper. You see, the thing is, we had certain strict rules at that time. Woman supposed to wear dress, not pants. So you had those guys don't come with a word for what we call war paint. Lipstick and eyeshadow. This is a root, so you kind of, if you want to come among Rasta, then you have to throw away those Babylonian things.
It was a camp with rules and doctrines and tenets to live by, and it was serious.
Bob was very, like, health conscious with them foods.
The blender would always be going with excellent juices, Irish moss on the fire, fish tea going, you know, everything to make you strong.
When I met him and I started the routine, You know, my routine was getting up in the mornings, train, do a lot of running, exercise, go to the beach. So it became an integral part of our lifestyle.
The whole Rasta thing is based on eternal life, and taking care of your body is the temple of the Lord. And we'd run on the beach and then up this mountain to a place called Cane River Falls. It's an incredible waterfalls. I shot some video up there.
'Cause every day we pay the price for your love and sacrifice. Time until the time is through. With time.
Cane River, we went up there really to get the waterfall. Eat on your back and thing on you. It's like the best massage you can get. This spot we're standing on now was the stadium. This was a football field. So we had like 2 goal posts, you know, like small scrimmage. You know, the most we ever played was 5-a-side scrimmage. So you had one there, then we had one down the back here. So I said maybe, wow, that's a small field when you look at it. Probably was what, 40 yards? In everything that Bob does, very competitive. So, you know, everything him really gave it 110%.
Just seated in Mount Zion. It rules all creation.
He had a passion. Everything I did with a ball, he would try to do it.
He just didn't play for the fun of it, you know. It was part of the process, you know. Because before he writes a song, he burn a spliff. Then you go run so you can lively up yourself, and then you get more inspired so the lyrics can come out.
I tell you the truth, you like play everywhere. Anywhere it is possible, you know.
He began to come and visit. You just hear these footsteps come running up the steps in the evening hours when the football was over and the place kind of quiet down, you know? And there's nobody to really see the little moves that you're making, because in the day the place is teeming with people, so you can't be too overt because you'll be outed instantly.
I understand you're married. Are you married?
No. You see, I can't deal with the Western ways of life. If I must live by law, it must be laws of His Majesty. If it's not the laws of His Majesty, well, I can make my own law. I went downtown. I saw Miss Brown. She had brown sugar. All over her booga-wooga. Think I might join the fun. But I had to hit the run. See, I just can't settle down in a kinky border town. Right on.
When did you first meet Bob?
I see Bob every day. Bob lives on 2nd Street, I live on 1st Street. I would take no notice of him because he would bother me. And I would go and tell my mother.
How old were you?
16.
Take me away, kinky reggae.
What did he do when he paid you attention?
Like stuff like, don't give it away, I'm growing you down. Remember, don't have any boyfriend before me, and stuff like that.
Was he charming?
Oh, yeah.
Would you ride on your...
Why were so many girls attracted to him?
Oh, my God. You don't know Bob? That's a handsome guy.
I went down to Piccadilly Circus.
People have visions of women beating down the door to get at Bob Marley and grabbing the clothes. Is it like that?
Why was he so successful with women?
Because he was shy. Bob is not the womanizer that people make him out. I think more the woman came at him.
That's what they say. Nice one.
Was he faithful?
To whom? God. Jah. Yes, he was faithful to Jah. Faithful to any one woman? No. Why? Somebody own him? What is fidelity? Western idea that, ring in your finger, ring through your nose. That's so Western, man. Can only handle one woman at a time. Bob could handle more.
One day, a lady came to me and she said, "Didn't anyone tell you that Bob was married?" And I didn't know.
For a time there, I never knew that he was legally married. I did come to know, eventually his mom told me.
Did he see Rita at all at that time?
Sure. I mean, they worked together, toured the world together.
When we were on tour, Rita had her own room. She was not with Bob. She would see everything that goes on, but she had maximum respect for the work.
How did you cope through all the years that you were married together and Bob was having these relationships with other women?
I became his guardian angel. By that time, I was past the surface of being just a wife because of the importance of who I knew Bob is. I didn't see it as a fun trip. We were on a mission. It was like an evangelist campaign to bring people closer to Jah.
They have this bond, I wouldn't. I mean, that was my husband, I wouldn't.
We never thought about women. We would never get into that. He would come and say to me, "Rita, I did this," or "This is what happened." I was the one that he would call to get women out of his dressing room, and he'd get to that stage, "Call my phone, my room, come and get these people out for me." And I would do that gracefully. "Come on, ladies, it's bedtime. We have a show tomorrow, so..."
She wouldn't get upset, but there are times when she was hurting. Hurt all of us. And that's what he didn't like. He didn't like it when, we knew that she was hurt and it showed on us. That's when, okay, we're going for ice cream. We're going for burgers. What do you want?
Do you think that he was being selfish?
Yes. It's not fair to no woman. That is not fair at all, but we still couldn't hate him for it.
In the capital of Kingston, there are rival shantytown ghettos where whole communities are divided along sectarian lines. These zones are controlled by the Prime Minister's People's National Party, who are accused of being communists, or by the opposition Jamaica Labour Party, who are accused of being fascists.
Politics in Jamaica at that time was like an East-West confrontation, which was scary. You have one side which is kind of more ultra-conservative right-wing, which is Seaga, who was like Reagan's man in the Caribbean. And then Manley, who was trying to work a system called democratic socialism, which the other parties say that's just a disguise for saying you're a communist.
Sometimes it's only insults or stones and bottles thrown from one side to the other, but often it's bombs and bullets. And almost every day, the newspapers carry fresh reports of the previous day's killings in Kingston.
The whole thing became like a gangster thing, political gangster.
These were the guys who kept things in line for the MPs, so you find that in some areas, the real power is the enforcers.
You like this girl, just both of us. You like her and I like her. We start to fight over her. It's just that. You like PNP, you like JLP, you're gonna fight for your PNP.
Bob was friends with all of those guys. All of the bad guys from the Labour Party was Bob's friend. Likewise, all the bad guys from the PNP.
These are guys that come from the same neighborhood he grew up with. These are really bad guys. Because you might see some guys here and then tomorrow you take up the Jamaican paper. You see the 10 most wanted list, 4 of the guys that were around every day, there are 5. Some of them actually love the music, you know, but their main thing is warfare and badness, you know.
When you have political violence, the youth fighting against the youth for the politicians, then I really feel sick. So you find none of them really doing anything good for the people. It's divide and rule.
Bob did a concert with Stevie Wonder in Jamaica. And they actually performed 2 songs together. I think Very Superstitious, which Bob knew, and I Shot the Sheriff. Stevie made a gesture by giving, I think, half of his pay for the show to the Salvation Army Blind School in Jamaica. And I think Bob was moved by that. And Bob said, well, we'll give a free concert. They took that idea to Michael Manley, who was just down the road, the Prime Minister, and they were like enthused about it.
Bob Marley, the world's leading exponent of reggae music, has agreed to appear in a major free concert to be held for the benefit of the Jamaican people in Kingston on Sunday, December 5th. The announcement was made at a press conference held at Jamaica House by Marley, his manager Don Taylor, and the parliamentary secretary in charge of cultural information, Arnold Bertram.
Well, I think he got tricked into it, because he rang me and asked me if I thought he should do the concert, and I said, well, if it's the Prime Minister, then you're doing it for the country. But if there's going to be an election soon, then you're doing it for him rather than the country.
2 weeks following that announcement on November 22nd, Jamaica's Prime Minister Michael Manley called new general elections for December 15th.
If we knew that election was going to happen in that space of time, we'd have never done that concert.
No, I never support no Michael Manley government, you know? Never.
So with the upcoming election, you don't really want to think about or care who wins?
Election? You know what I mean? Whoever wins is going to be the same problem.
Remember, Bob is becoming very popular. And whoever side Bob seems to be on, that's the side people going to be on.
You know, Bob had a lot of control down there in Jamaica, man. You know, and them politicians didn't like that.
Bob, I think, had overexposed himself on the political side. And that was bound to draw the anger of some others because he had friends on both sides.
The thing was like, you have to be on one side. You have to be on some side. You can't be in the middle because you can get hurt.
We'd feel little kind of tension, but you know, the politics kind of getting hot.
There were people saying that they heard that they were going to shoot up the concert.
People in the group, you know, the musicians and the Iron Threes, you know, every day as it would get closer to this day of the concert, people was feeling hesitant about doing it. They had a fear for it.
Every night, there would be rehearsal at 56 Hope Road for the concert.
We usually had 2 guys from equivalent to the Secret Service. They call them the Protective Service. They like protect the Prime Minister and stuff. And they used to come every night, but they never came that night.
We had took a break, so everybody was kind of floating around. Don Taylor, Bob, and myself was in the kitchen.
While I was in the car now getting ready to come out, I see some men going up the steps.
The gunman approached from the side here and kind of pushed his gun through here.
Well, you see a black glove with a gun in it, pointing up, you know, there was nowhere else to go in the kitchen because we was like at the wall.
And then I heard the gunshots.
Then they turned the gun on the car. I felt the warmness, the blood running down. Then I realized I was shot.
The cat just kept on shooting, man, till he ran out of bullets.
One hold a gun to my head, and one said to the other one, everybody dead? And they say, yeah, man, everybody dead, everybody dead.
Next thing I see Don Taylor come out, man, and like blood pouring out of him like ketchup, man. And then he finally collapsed right there in the floor. I'm like, man.
And I'm shouting out for Bob, and then I heard a voice who I recognized as Carly Barrett coming from. He says, Bob is all right. Bob is all right. He had a burn right, the gun traveled right here and actually lodged in his arm.
It's just a miracle, man, that nobody died from that, man.
So it wasn't really a professional hit?
Well, as professional as Jamaica is, they watch a lot of movies.
Here now is a special item of news. Entertainer and reggae star Bob Marley, Rita Marley, and the manager of the Wailers, Don Taylor, are now patients in the University Hospital after receiving gunshot wounds during a shooting incident tonight.
All me hear is gunshot. No, I never see no man who fire a shot. Somebody feel like the Smile Jamaica concert shouldn't go on, so them try to stop it.
That's one thing for sure, that they was trying to stop that concert from happening.
The whole thing about whether the concert was going to happen or not, there was so much pressure. There was pressure from everywhere. I was just scared Bob would get assassinated.
In the twilight inside the arena, the crowd is fenced off, and armed police are positioned all around the park. 5 hours after the concert was due to begin, the star, Bob Marley, is still not there.
Some were trying to say, Bob, don't go. If they didn't get you, they may try for you again.
Every man saying, you really want to do it, boss? And he said yes.
I said, hey, I'm with you, man. You want to do it, let's do it.
The police came for him and took him down, and we were in the car right behind the police vehicle.
When I got there, I couldn't believe the situation, man. This is at night in Kingston. You got like 80,000 people, man, you know what I mean? If somebody wanted to try to get you, it's like a perfect situation. But it was a special night, man. It was a special moment, man.
Come on, people. The guy come out of his bed to sing for you tonight. Let me hear it. Come on, Bob on the best.
Mr. Bob baring his chest and showing his wounds. The crowd went up. I mean, what more Jamaican love than a man who had just survived a gunfight?
Yeah.
Bob was not afraid. Bob knew that if anything happens while he's doing his work, he knows that the Almighty God is protecting him.
If you lacked faith before then, you could not deny it after that, man.
Oh, will be. Oh, my goodness. Oh, Lord. Help us. Cast away. Total water in the way and smile. In Jamaica. In Jamaica, y'all. In Jamaica. In Jamaica, y'all. If you're gonna help poor people, help them right.
I have to really ask you about the shooting. Somebody said to me, it was either the JLP thinking that you were supporting the PNP, or it was the PNP thinking you supported the JLP. Do you have anything to say about that?
I think it was the devil, you know. But God protect, you know.
I mean, they could try to shoot at you again.
Yeah. What is to be must be.
After the shooting, he was, I wouldn't say scared, but just hurt. Too hurt to face Jamaica.
I was the one who escaped with him out of Jamaica after the shooting. Yeah, me and him. Didn't say a word the whole way through.
We went to Nassau first, and then he went on to London.
Don't worry about a thing.
He just wanted to take a break. He wanted to not be looking over his shoulder. He wanted not to be dealing with the problem, not dealing with the controversy. He just wanted some free headspace to work, to make music, to tour.
We moved immediately into Chelsea area, Oakley Street. It was a great experience because we're all together in this house.
Well, on each floor there was a different musician. There was Tyrone Downey on one floor, Carlton Barrett on another floor, Family Man Barrett on another floor, Alvin Seco Patterson on another floor. Neville Garrick, I think, was in the basement sharing with somebody.
We're a stone throw from Battersea Park Bridge. Once we went over the bridge, then you had the football field. Because we even played against some National Front guys. We whooped them a couple times over there.
Did he feel like he was in exile?
Yeah, man. But Bob was like deeply into creation of music. That's how I think he satisfied his soul.
Bob's life was spared, and he was very happy to be alive. He said God gave him another chance.
He was also confronted by his mortality. And when you think that these might be your last opportunities to do anything, you place a greater value on every moment, every second of every moment of every day. There's no time. We've got no time to lose.
He slept basically about 4 hours a day. And he was always writing a song. And, you know, you'd be up all night writing, and he'd go, I'd say, oh, Bob, I got to go get some sleep now. He'd go, oh, just half an hour more. Half an hour would turn into 4 hours, you know.
Bob liked to write early in the morning. Come in the morning and have this gravelly voice, you know, like kind of Rod Stewart-ish kind of thing.
You'll be working out the melody, and then the lyrics would come after.
Would that leave you there? There's something I have to play. It happens every day. Children, mark my word. It's what the Bible says.
And Miss World 1976 is Miss Jamaica.
And the Royal Albert Hall is in uproar. Incredible. Cindy Breaksteer, the 21-year-old health club operator, gets the sash. I think she's as overwhelmed as anyone.
At the time I won Miss World, Bob was not yet a household name in England, but because he was now tied to me, and Miss World was definitely a household name, we complimented each other very nicely.
Cindy completely overwhelmed by the emotion of the moment, and Wildelia Merced crowns the new Miss World 1976.
It was considered quite...
outrageous.
Yeah, that's a good word. Outrageous works. But Bob loved achievement, you know. He loved achievement. And I don't think there's a man alive who doesn't want to get the girl. So...
Would he have liked it if you had become Rasta?
Yes, I think he would have liked it. Things would always come up. How you present yourself as a woman, what's appropriate, where, cover your head, this, that. Here I am on the train coming in from all parts out of London. And, you know, they've got this tiny little triangular sink in the bathroom on the train. And I'm washing all the makeup off. Anyway, one night I wasn't able to do that. And I came home in full regalia, red nails, fur coat, fully made up. And no sooner than I walked through the front door and closed it, he walked in behind. I turned around, looked at me and said, "Ah, I catch you."
Exodus was huge. That was our biggest album ever there. Just mash up Europe and it's tearing down America. They're waiting for us.
And then the American tour was canceled because Bob was having problems with his toe.
Somebody stepped on it with their spike boots. And then it started to get infested because Bob would still play football the next day on it. And the next day.
And that went on for some time before they realized what it really was.
They came up with the definitive diagnosis of melanoma.
And they tested and they found out that that was more like a white person sort of sickness. It wasn't coming from a black source. It was the whiteness in him that allowed it to get this bad.
What did they recommend he should do about it?
They recommended disarticulation at the hip. In other words, remove the entire leg.
The doctor in England told him he had to cut his whole leg off. Do you remember that?
No. Had to cut off his toe. It was definitely not his leg.
A lot of people told Bob that once you cut your toe off, your big toe especially, you won't be able to dance anymore.
He loved football. So I think the thought of having his toe amputated was just unacceptable to him.
So this other doctor who we saw in Miami said, no, it's not necessary. We can just take off a portion of it. You don't have to remove the whole toe. You can just take off the whole nail bed and, you know, it wouldn't be necessary.
He got very bad advice from the people that was around him.
Discredited and abandoned. Well, everywhere is war. This war. And until there's no longer first class nor second class citizens of any nation, until the color of a man's skin is of no more significance to the color of his eyes, I've got to say war. War in the east, war in the west, war of good,
meant to bring Bob back because it was felt that he had the potential to heal the very strong division that existed.
The government was begging because they said Jamaica is lost without Bob Marley. We can't say Bob is in exile. So they got one of their main leader, Claude Massop, to speak to Bob.
This guy, he was from the other side of the party, Claude Massop, and the next one named Tech Life. I don't remember his right name, but we call him Tech Life. They went up to England to pursue Bob to come down, back to Jamaica.
Bob sent for them in a way to come up, and so they would be away from Jamaica, away from that political influence, and they could reason among themselves.
The two guys who went up there for him was on the opposition. So I would represent the other side. So if he say, I don't come, then he ain't coming back to Jamaica. So I have to go to England.
Of those people, how many are still alive?
One you're speaking to.
Started doing that song, which is We Ja People Shall Come Together and Make It Work. Then they decided, have a concert. Let us have a peace concert.
Last month, a truce was arranged between the rival political factions in Kingston, Jamaica. A peace conference was arranged to be preceded by a peace concert for the people in a very large park. They expect over 100,000 people there. Bob Marley was invited to headline this peace concert. Marley has accepted and will return to Kingston, Jamaica. Bob, why are you returning to Jamaica?
Well, my life not important to me. Other people's life important. My life is only important if me can help plenty people. If my life is just for me, my own security, then me don't want it. My life is for people. That's where me is.
Loads of people went out to the airport. They stormed the runway.
When the plane landed, they jumped over the barriers and ran towards the plane, which is similar to what happened when Haile Selassie came to Jamaica.
It was amazing to see this stadium with 30,000 people. People who were opposed politically were sitting beside each other.
Played a wrong note. He started singing, whoa, watch what you're doing. And everybody thought he was trying to tell the people out there, you know, you got to watch what you're doing, but he was really talking to me.
He was very spiritual. This is like
Hey.
I'm trying to say, could we have up here on stage here the presence of Mr. Michael Manley and Mr. Edward Seattle. Oh! We just want to shake hands and show the people that we're gonna meet them right. We're gonna unite. We're gonna meet them right. We got to unite. Get.
He didn't plan it at all. It was spontaneous.
I'm waiting. Hold on. Help us all pray.
Anything could have happened at that point. I was just praying that the people didn't get foolish and start shooting again.
There was no preachment or anything like that. He just took our hands and with a few words, held it up above his head. And at that moment, everybody was one.
Love, prosperity, be with us all. Jah, Rastafari.
He was able to do that. He was able to bring people together in that way. The same half uptown, half downtown, half black, half white. It's that marriage of everything. He just embodied it all in one person.
As his career grew, so grew the better education and the better car and a bigger house with more rooms. But my father would always take us back to Trenchtown.
Sometimes Bob would go down the ghetto and, pass through and things like that. Would never lock his car up. God, that's like saying you don't trust people.
Have you made a lot of money out of your music?
Money? I mean, how much is a lot of money to you?
Yeah, that's a good question. Have you made, say, millions of dollars?
No.
Are you a rich man?
When you mean rich, what you mean?
Do you have a lot of possessions? A lot of money in the bank?
Position make you rich? I don't have that type of richness. My richness is life, forever.
Hope Road was always swarming with people, and for the same reason. Looking for an opportunity, looking for some money, looking for a handout, need a job, my children's school fees, on and on and on.
You have lines every day at Hope Road. People from all walks, they bring the baby, they bring the kids, and you have long lines and you just hand out. And he doesn't just give like pittance, he'll give you enough. You can start something,
A couple of years ago, no one would have believed that this raggle-taggle tribe of Jamaican musicians would be packing Toronto's Maple Leaf Gardens. It's a sign of reggae's growing acceptance in the international pop music scene. And it's also catapulted this man, Bob Marley, to superstardom.
Bob once made a statement, he says, they ask him, how big you think this music will get? And Bob says, this music will get bigger and bigger and bigger till it reaches right people, which to me is the whole world.
Yes, come a long way.
From 200 seaters to 1,000, and then I saw 80,000. I saw 100,000.
Cause I said so. Hear what you gonna do? You rock so.
We tore up Europe. We played to like maybe 2 million people in 6 weeks. We broke everybody's record over there. Rolling Stones, I mean.
It's gang soul. Oh yeah. You come so, come alive today. And I be up yourself.
We did a concert in Tokyo, 4,000 people. Everybody is total Japanese, singing every song word for word.
Most of them could not even understand. They spoke a different language, but they felt the music and they knew what he was saying.
Lively up yourself in the morning time.
The media lied and said that Bob smoked a pound a day.
Take it.
And so everywhere we went, the police was on our heels, and they would search our belongings with a fine-tooth comb.
I got to lively up myself.
You would see police with dogs on the bus searching, but every time they searched, they never found anything. So they didn't bother with us again.
Towards the latter years, they're more like, you have any posters, like a record? So we basically just came up with a passport, a whole bunch of records and posters, and they didn't even look, they just stamped. You know?
One of his main concern was that he wasn't reaching the black people. You know, he's noticed all the shows were all white, every show. So that kind of was puzzling to him.
I was in Nigeria and came back and told him about the response of the people to him in Nigeria who had never seen him, but just the music. And he couldn't believe it. I said, yes, I'm serious. I said, Africa is really waiting for you. As a matter of fact, if you go to Africa, you really might not come back.
C'est la première fois que je le rencontrais, en 79, aux États-Unis. Et quand on est arrivé backstage, quand il m'a vu, il m'a dit « Tu es vilaine ». Et j'étais choquée, je me suis dit « Je ne connais pas le monsieur ne me connaît pas, il me dit que je suis vilaine ». En fait, j'ai compris après, c'est parce que j'avais les cheveux défrisés. Donc, bon, comme lui, Rasta, tout doit être naturel. Ensuite, on a demandé s'il pouvait venir au Gabon pour l'anniversaire de mon père. C'est ce qu'on a fait. Il est venu en janvier.
Check out the real situation. Nation war against nation. Where did it all begin?
Her father was the president of Gabon.
We didn't know he was a dictator when we went, but we found out, and it was like, okay, we're here, it's too late, let's just play. And his daughter was in love with Bob.
C'était quelqu'un de direct, de simple, d'humble. Bon, quand vous tombez amoureux de quelqu'un, vous ne réfléchissez pas, ça arrive.
To Bob, Africa is the motherland, you know, and he loved Jamaica, but he was in transit. Africa was the destination.
And everything is just for a while. It seemed like total destruction, the only solution.
You don't die and go to heaven, you have to live in heaven. Africa is our heaven, because that's where we come from.
Il y a quelqu'un qui est allé dire à mon père, oh là là, faut pas recevoir Bob Marley, c'est un révolutionnaire, c'est pas bien. C'est mon frère qui l'a reçu au palais. Premier show, très bien. Mais le public gabonais, il n'applaudissait pas. On s'est dit, aïe, il y a un problème. Il n'aime pas. Toute la foule était autour de nous. J'ai dit, ça y est, ils vont nous tuer, ils vont casser la voiture. Mais curieusement, tous les jeunes ont entouré la voiture. Ils criaient seulement Rastaman, Rastaman, Rastaman.
Everywhere we went, the kids were running beside the bus and waving and hollering, Bob Marley, Ganja, Ganja. We said, oh.
Il était à la plage souvent avec les jeunes qui disaient qu'ils ne comprenaient pas, qui lui demandaient qu'est-ce que Rasta veut dire, quelle est cette philosophie, et qu'est-ce qu'il pense, qu'est-ce que l'Afrique doit faire, est-ce que la révolution, enfin, toutes les questions des jeunes. Mais je crois qu'il a eu beaucoup d'impact sur les jeunes à Libreville, beaucoup.
Bob asked me to find out from Pascaline how much money we were actually paid. And what she told me was a lot more money than what Bob was told by Donna.
Bob Marley s'est fâché. Son manager avait surfacturé. Donc pour lui, comme l'Afrique était importante, aller en Afrique, il était choqué que pour la première fois qu'il met pied en Afrique, que quelque chose comme ça arrive.
Kick him down. Leapt across the room and kick him down.
Yeah, I saw him kick his ass. In fact, we questioned him for almost 3 hours that night on tape.
We were on the 23rd floor and they kind of held Don outside the window for a minute.
Bob would ask him the same question like maybe half an hour later and he answered different and Bob said, Garrick, rewind. Play. And this wasn't you said that boy. Slap him a couple times. Yeah.
It was the policy of keeping Africans in their place, which by 1965 made Rhodesia illegal in the eyes of the world.
I don't believe in black majority rule ever in Rhodesia, not in 1,000 years.
Bob wrote a song called Zimbabwe, Nati Mashitina Zimbabwe, I Liberate Zimbabwe. And when the song got to Zimbabwe, the freedom fighters embraced that as their anthem.
They got their independence. Finally, they got their independence. And they sent representatives here to Jamaica to ask Bob to perform.
They wanted him to come, and when they saw the cost, they said they couldn't afford it.
And so Bob Marley used his own money and shipped equipment, I think from London, to Zimbabwe. You had dignitaries from all over the world.
I, Robert Gabriel Mugabe, do swear that I will well and truly serve Zimbabwe in the office of Minister of the Government. So help me God.
Midnight, the exact moment of independence. As Prince Charles, Governor Soames, and hundreds of visiting heads of government and VIPs from around the world watched, the new flag was raised, Robert Mugabe's government assumed power, and Zimbabwe was born.
It was the first time anybody in Zimbabwe had heard anything like this. When the first song started, the 90,000 people outside who couldn't get in decided they're coming in.
Many people will fight you down when you see your light. Let me tell you, if you're not...
It was the freedom fighters heard Bob Marley inside the stadium and they are locked out, not being able to go in, and they just flattened the fence. So being there on stage, I remember I was the first person to smell something unusual. It was tear gas.
There was this strange sensation that was burning our throats. And it felt as if we were gonna die. We didn't know what it was, and we felt that we're going to leave Jamaica and come all the way to Zimbabwe to leave our kids and just die here. So, Britta, Marcy, and I, we ran off the stage, and the musicians were coming off one by one. But Bob was still in his element, and I guess he didn't even realize what was happening.
That just opened my eyes to know that this man was ready to go down with his people. Whatever the reason was, Bob didn't run nowhere.
So when we got back on stage with Bob, this is what Bob said to us. Now I know who are the true revolutionaries.
Just come to break the pressure. Rule equality, yeah. Wipe away transgression. Set the captives free. Set the captives free now. Set the captives free, yeah.
And I think that was one of his highlights of a dream for him. He was at home.
Thank you very much. Zimbabwe, freedom!
Did Bob want to reach a black audience in America?
Oh, of course he did. Bob, until he died, he did. The last concert in New York was to try to get African-American R&B airplay in America. Bob had a cult following in America. And when you go to a Bob Marley concert, it was sold out, but it was white.
Yeah, the black people in America are responding. It was always a big thing. We always talked about it. We always wondered why.
So Frankie Crocker, the #1 jock in the country, said that I got a concert with the Commodores. We'll guarantee you 3 months of airplay if Bob would open for the Commodores. We said, you got to be crazy. The Commodores should be opening the show for Bob Marley, not in reverse. I went back to Bob, and Bob said, no problem.
Could you be loved and be loved? Could you be loved and be loved? Don't let them fool you. Or even try to school you.
When we did the Madison Square Garden show, that night was history. Every single one that was in the audience stood on their feet to acknowledge this man.
Could you be loved and be loved? Could you be loved and be
I think the doors of America was open to Bob right there.
The next day, we were out in Central Park jogging, and we was going up this hill. And all of a sudden, he stumbled, and he laid him down on the side of the trail, and he started shaking, and he had foaming at the mouth. And I looked at him, he looked real strange. And the guys gathered around him, and they said something in patois, and he hollered, Rastafari, and jumped up off the ground. Scared me to death. I mean, he was there shaking and foaming. Next thing I know, he's jumped up.
We took him to the hospital next door to my house. The doctor told Alan and me that Bob Marley had cancer and that it had spread.
He had cancer all over his body. Lungs, brain, like all over the place. It was incredible that he was able to keep working.
But the doctor told us that we shouldn't do anything, that we should just let him stay on the concert tour, that he was so strong and powerful that one day he was going to walk out on stage and he was going to fall dead. But that he could not be treated and he could not be helped.
How did he take the news? I mean, how...
Bad. He took the news bad.
I knew he'd had problem with his toe before that, but I'd forgotten about it. I think everybody seemed to have forgotten about it. Because if he'd been going to regular checkups, you know, he might be around today. But
he just didn't go to his checkups?
No.
The next stop was Pittsburgh. And we were waiting for Bob to come on the bus, for all of us to drive to Pittsburgh. And we never saw Bob.
Finally, he arrived, and he was looking very, very stressed, I remember. And we went to do a sound check. And I remember we did a sound check with one song. And we did that song for maybe 2 or 3 hours. I'm hurting inside.
It's the longest sound check we have ever had. It just felt like, why? We didn't understand.
We had a meeting before the show, half an hour before the show, and we were told by Alan Cole that this was going to be our last concert. And of course, we were all like in shock.
Before we went on stage, he said to me, I want you to stay pretty close in case anything should happen. So I'm saying to him, nothing's going to happen to you, man. Everything's going to be all right. But he said, stay close in case, just in case he got a seizure.
I wanna love you, I wanna love and treat you right.
He put on a show, but it wasn't the same. He didn't have the same energy. But the people kept him pumped up because there's so many people in the audience, and they were Bob, Bob.
They called for an encore, and we were saying, Lord, I wonder if he can do it. And he went out and he did the encore. He did about 4 songs. And they called for another encore. And I'm saying, Jesus, I wonder if he's going to fall out on this one. But he did it. He did it. And that was the last time we performed on stage together.
I was with him the whole time in New York when he was being treated at Sloan Kettering. I was with him every day. I was with him when he was getting chemo and his locks fell out.
The weight of the locks was just too heavy. The few hairs that were still holding was beginning to be really uncomfortable, and he decided to cut it. That was quite a night. It was myself, Rita, a group of us women. We lit candles and we were reading from the Bible. We were reading the book of Job. And cut.
I said to him, you going for the rude boy look? And he laughed. It was funny, but it was really, really sad. The saddest thing I can ever remember.
That was the first time I saw him, like, without his hair, you know, and he looked like so tiny.
say, listen, we're going to fight it. All right, regardless of what the doctors might say or what they might do, we're going to fight it. Because Rasta never give up.
Left to me, I would have said, Bob, come home to St. Anne and come eat roast fish and callaloo every day. Smoke the biggest spliff you feel like. Drink fish tea. Just do what you want. And if you end up in the same place at the end of it all, at least you will have had some comfort in your last months on this earth and being in the place that you really, really wanted to be in. But we girls didn't have much talk in those days, you know. The men made the decisions.
All pirates, yes, they rob I, sold I to the merchant ships. Minutes after they took I from the bottomless pit, but my hand was made strong by the hand of the Almighty. We forward in this generation triumphantly. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever have, redemption songs, redemption songs.
He was living in a house just down the road. It was actually in walking distance from the clinic. But I mean, you had to put boots on halfway up your thigh to get through the snow.
I'm telling you, I had to wear dark glasses because it was so white. The lake was frozen 3 feet deep. You could drive a car over it. I said, this is a fridge where they keep people alive. No, Rata Egran, I'll never forget that.
Dr. Joseph Issels was the ultimate in holistic therapy at that time. But what made him more interesting, he was the only doctor who had actually cured a melanoma on the planet Earth.
Ja, zuerst hat sich auch über den wunderschönen Winter gefreut. Gell, das war ja wirklich ein Traumwinter. War ja ganz glatzköpfig. Mit einer dicken Pummelmütze. Da sprang ein Funke über. Bobby. Bobby, habe ich gesagt. Woran erinnere ich mich? An seine Duldsamkeit, in seine Fügsamkeit, in alles, was wir mit ihm machen. Er war immer freundlich.
I went to Germany for his 36th birthday. You know, Rita was there, Cindy was there, his mom was there. It was kind of frustrating in a sense because I know the type of person Bob is and didn't want us to see him in that state. Bob had a stroke, I think, on the left side. So he was frustrated he couldn't finger the guitar.
So when you left him, you thought he might get better?
Yeah, I was definitely hoping. Well, he was trying to tell me that he's going to beat this thing, you know. Beat this thing.
I understand that writers and people in the press are very concerned about my health. I want to say thank you for your interest and that I'll be all right and I'll be back on the road again in 1981. Recording, performing with the fans we love. Beautiful. You know, Bob talking to you, don't have no doubt. See? Good.
Ja, zuerst ging es ihm schon recht gut, gell? Aber, ja, die Krankheit ging halt voran, die ging weiter.
I think people then started going after his wealth. I think that it become a bloodthirsty type situation where people knew he was going to die, and they just surrounded him.
That's why Bob never write a will. I feel. Bob I never want to give up. See, it's like when you write a will, it's like you say, well, you know, I'm checking in. So I think that was one of the reasons. I think one of the reasons, too, is not the type of person who would say, no, okay, I leave this for Ziggy, so that, you know, like divide up and, okay, what should I leave for Seco and Nevland, Carly, and that's not Bob. But the Bob I know, by leaving it open like that, everybody revealed who they really were. You get me? Who really did love him, who fighting over the money. Yeah, man, him does say, but that's how he is. Bob left it open.
The doctor said that he couldn't do anything more for Bob. And if we were going to leave, we'd have to do it within 48 hours.
So I said, well, I'm on my way back. I'm coming back to Germany this week. And he said, no, don't come. He's coming to Miami.
We decided, you know, that maybe just rent a plane, you know. Bob wanna know if it's a Concorde. I said, no Concorde.
So I brought up all the kids from who was in Jamaica. Some are not my kids, some from other mothers. So I gathered everyone and said, come, Daddy, want to see you all.
I remember me and Ziggy were sitting outside and some preacher guy came from Jamaica. Another one came from the Ethiopian church. And I'm telling Ziggy, I'm like, Ziggy's gonna be all right, you know? Because, I mean, look how many people are praying.
My memory was going to the intensive care unit door and people going like this, looking through the window, you know, like going. And him lay down and him kind of see me and him go, come. So I went in and went beside him and him said, you know, him said like, well, I'm young Bob, what, you know, what's up, young Bob? And I have a song for you, you know, him said, I have a song for you. And him sing a couple lines, the song, on your way up, take me up, on your way down, don't let me down.
You know, like the one time you're kind of hoping you can have him for yourself? And it wasn't supposed to happen again, you know?
Hail Selassie is the champion. Power of the Trinity. Build your mind on this direction. Serve the living God and live. Living God. Living God and live. Take your troubles to Selassie. Is the only King of Kings. King of Kings, King of Kings is he. Triumphantly we all must sing. All must sing. All must sing. I search and I search. This great book of mine. In the revelation, look what I find. El Selassie is the
I don't really have no ambition, you know. I only have one thing I really like to happen. I like to see mankind live together. Black, white, shiny, anyone. You know what I mean? That's
Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. You get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up. Get up, stand up now. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Get up, stand up now. Don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. One more time. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. 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 Why? 'Cause I never give up the fight. 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 Don't give up the fight. Get your children. Don't give up the fight. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. Hear the children crying. One love, one heart. Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Singing, let's get together and